Toastmaster of the evening, fellow members and welcome guests. Many years ago, when I was still a 10-year-old boy, that's many years ago, my family went to the beach to escape from a very hot day. At the end of the day, we were trying to leave. Before we left, my mother and I took a walk on the beach. And the sun set very quickly, and suddenly it was pitch dark. We couldn't see anything except the bubbles from the waves coming in and out. And suddenly there was a bright white lightning. I was scared because I was 10. So I said, Mom, what is that? My mother said, that is the lighthouse. But why the light? Mother said, because they want to guide the ship. I said, why? Because I was 10. My mother said, because they need help. And I said, why help? I'm sure my mother was going to hit me. But she said something, and I still remember even today. She said, help others, help yourself. Help others, help yourself. But I was very young, as I told you. I didn't really understand that. So after that, for many years, I did not really go out on my way to help people. When I see people begging on the street, I just quickly wash by. When I see on the MRT someone needs a seat, I usually just was a little bit too late, and someone will offer the seat before me. And this go on for a long time, until I met a guy called Mr. Zhang Chen in Beijing. Zhang Chen is a 29-year-old young man, a very healthy young man, except he is blind. He was 14 when he lost his eyesight. He was in a classroom just like this. He was looking at the blackboard, and he turned his head to talk to a classmate behind him. And he turned his head back, and he lost his eyesight in about 30 seconds. And if you can see, and then your eyesight was taken away from you, that pain is so much, he could not stand it. He tried to kill himself several times, and he fell. Eventually, his parents raised enough money for him to go to a massage school. So he learned how to massage, and then found a job and support himself. And that changed his life. He started to save money. And then once he had enough money, he would send a young blind kid to learn massage. And then they would save money together. They would send the next one. When I met him, he already sent 300 people through that process. I was so touched. My mother's voice started ringing in my ears. Help others. So I offered to help. And Zhang Chen said, that would be great. We are expanding our schools. There are a lot of construction work to do. And I could not see the plan. So you could be our guiding light. So I said yes. And that started my journey of discovery. And I learned something. The first day. I went to the school. The school was messy, dirty. A lot of work needs to be done. But then they had this 30 young blind kid standing in front of the street, in front of the school to welcome me. They are all from the poor villages, but they had these big smiles on their face. I was so moved. So I hugged the little girl in front. The school did not have showers, hot water, so I had to hold my breath. And then she cried. I feel so bad. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that. And she said, no one ever hugs me before in my life. I don't know why in our culture we don't hug people when we really should. We never really openly offer emotions, show our emotion. So that day I decided to do that. Well, the first chance I had to go back to the United States, when I saw my mother, I gave her a big hug. And my mother was surprised. She said, what did you do wrong? No, I said, I just love you. I just want to hug you. And I was very lucky. because I was able to help her for 6 more months, and then she died of cancer. Now, then I went back to school. The construction still went on, and then I learned more as I spent more time in the street, in the school. You know, blind person usually don't have to use sticks or help when they are in their familiar environment. So like in the classroom, they are doing very well. They don't need help at all. Just don't move the chairs and tables around. So it is not uncommon to see the blind kid walking along the blind path along the campus. They don't need any help at all. But one evening, I was totally surprised. 3 blind boys, they were running on the blind path to the dining room. I yelled, "Be careful, you may get hurt." And then one young boy yelled back, "We have visitors and we're going to have McDonald's." Later I learned that these people are mostly from the villages and they have never had Big Mac in their life. So I was watching their eating. I was in amazement because they filled the hamburgers, the Big Macs, like that's the most precious thing in the world. And they taste each bite like that's the most delicious food in the world. I was wondering, how can anyone get that kind of enjoyment out of a common daily item? Then I tried to remember, when was the last time I had a Big Mac? I don't even know. I don't even remember the taste. Maybe I was driving and talking at the same time. Do you guys have the same kind of experience? You're so busy, really getting ready with your finals, and you don't really know. You eat a 生意面, and you don't really know what's the taste because you are so wrapped up with what you're doing, and then you forgot the little details. So from that time on, I started to really try to live every moment. I even drink black coffee because I want to taste the real coffee. You know, coffee has so many different tastes in there. It's sour, it's bitter, and it's sweet, and sometimes even salty. And that, I did that. Okay, so finally after a whole year, the school was complete. We had a big celebration party, and then Zhang Chen stood up. He held a glass of water. He faced me and he said, "Dr. Huang, I want to thank you. We wouldn't make it without you." I looked at Zhang Chen and the faces of the small kid, of the 30 kids. All I saw was me hugging my mother, was me living every day of my life. I was a totally changed person. So I look at I held my glass to Zhang Chen and the kids. I said, "No, Zhang Chen, you are my guiding light." Toastmaster of the